Sophie addressed tens of thousands of people at a ceremony in Srebrenica marking 30 years since more than 8,000 Bosnian Muslim men and boys were slaughtered. Duchess Sophie embraced one of the mothers of those killed in the horror Srebrenica massacre as she marked 30 years since the worst atrocity on European soil since the Second World War. Sophie addressed tens of thousands of people at a ceremony in Srebrenica marking 30 years since more than 8,000 Bosnian Muslim men and boys were slaughtered by ethnic Serbs. Speaking at the incredibly moving ceremony, the Duchess read a message from the King saying the world must acknowledge its failure to prevent the horror and to do all we can to ensure it never happens again. He hailed those who have worked to preserve the memory of those who have died and who dedicate their lives to rebuilding trust between communities for the sake of a better, shared future. The King warned the genocide must not be denied or forgotten, adding, 3 decades on, it is ever more important to remember all those who suffered, and to redouble our efforts to ensure a peaceful, stable future for all the citizens of Bosnia and Herzegovina. He concluded his message by reinforcing his decades of campaigning for building bridges between different faiths and communities. Let us honor their memory by standing alongside each and every one of those who work so tirelessly to promote understanding and tolerance between all peoples, of all faiths, nationalities and ethnicities, in the ongoing pursuit of a just and brighter future, he said. The commemoration took place at the Srebrenica Memorial Center, is housed in the old battery factory which served as the UN base in 1995 and where thousands of people sought protection leading up to the fall of Srebrenica. Sophie viewed the UK-funded exhibition, In the Footsteps of Those Who Have Not Crossed, which displays the personal belongings of people who were killed by Bosnian Serb forces in July 1995. As well as items owned by people who survived. Some of the items were found on the path taken by the so-called March of Death, a column of escapees who fled Srebrenica to Nazuk. Many Bosniaks were killed on this route as they tried to escape to safety. Wearing a white headscarf, the Duchess visited the memorial cemetery where she paid her respects to 7 Muslim victims whose remains have been identified and are being buried on the anniversary and laid flowers in memory of all the victims. The remains of 6,765 victims of the genocide are buried in the cemetery. Before leaving, the Duchess spoke to a small group of the associations, Mothers of the Enclaves of Srebrenica and Zepa, hearing firsthand from the families of victims about efforts to heal the wounds of war and ensure justice is done. The mothers demonstrate on the 11th of every month to remind the public of those whose fates are still unknown. Many mothers have died since the 1990s, some never finding their sons or loved ones. Sophie was said to be profoundly moved by yesterday's ceremony and the experience of visiting Srebrenica on such an important day. Her message in the Srebrenica Memorial Center condolence book said, "Our duty must be to remember all those lost so tragically and to never let these things happen again. It's only by working together that we find peace," Sophie